What's up, Fragrant World, and welcome back to another Stay Fresh production. Today, I'm bringing you my top 5 favorite amber scents right now. Actually, we're going to talk about 6. Why? Because why not? Throwing a bonus for you. Top 6 amber fragrances. And first thing we should do is talk about what is amber. If you're not familiar with what amber is in fragrances, it is a fantasy note. It is an accord, so it's technically a combination of different notes to create what we would believe is amber, as you see here pictured, which doesn't really have a scent to it, and if you didn't know, it's basically fossilized tree sap, but people have gotten creative with what that might smell like, and we see it with different facets. Usually it's warm, it can be kind of powdery sometimes, it's sweet, but what amber really is a combination of notes, as I said. That's going to be vanilla, benzoin, and labdanum. Usually you have that trio of notes, which will give you your amber accord, and depending on the proportions of those notes, I'm not an expert, but I think depending on how you proportion the notes in the accord, that's going to give that amber accord different facets. So you accentuate the benzoin over the vanilla, then again you're going to get different ways of that amber actually coming off. So each of these fragrances that I'm going to talk about features the amber in a different way. Some of them are more distinctly amber based. Some of them have amber as a supporting role. And there's plenty of amber scents that I do not have here simply because I've either never smelled them before or I just simply don't own them. So if you have a favorite amber scent that is not here, then again, doesn't mean I don't like it. So we're going to dive into the list. This is not really in a very strong order, but I tried my best to rank them in order of how much I like them from least to most, but I think they're all beautiful. We're going to start off with a cheapie here. This is a wonderful scent from the house of Calvin Klein. It's one that's not often talked about simply because Calvin Klein isn't often talked about, at least here on YouTube. You see a few fragrances here and there, but from this line in particular, you don't see it much. This is from the Euphoria line, which I've mentioned here and there, and this is called Euphoria Intense. This is one of those fragrances that has a very interesting note breakdown. At least to my nose, the note breakdowns that you can find online do not completely reflect what you smell. And that's pretty common in the designer market. You spray this, I'm gonna spray it in the air. It's a calming scent, but it's also kind of invigorating. There's quite a bit of ginger in here, which I do get. It is a little spicy from that, as well as some black pepper. Some sources say that there's agarwood in here. I don't really get anything that smells like oud at all, but amber is definitely here. It's a warm amber. It's sweet. There's also benzoin in here. There's labdanum, which make up the amber accord. Sometimes a website like Fragrantica will list an amber accord in a fragrance next to benzoin or vanilla or labdanum, which is just kind of funny to me because that is what the amber typically is. So it seems kind of redundant to list all of the notes separately and the amber, even though it contains them all. Anyway, you get the idea. So there's a lot of sweet oriental nature going into this. It's warm. It is a little fresh. There's even a little bit of an herbaceous feel with some basil in here. Overall, very pleasant, very easy to wear scent. Something that you can easily wear in the transition seasons like spring and fall. I'd wear this at night, but you can also wear it during the day, maybe to work. It is a little basic, but there's something about it that is charming, and I've gotten some really, really nice feedback from this one. And the performance isn't too bad. It's better than what you would expect. I would get a good 6 to 7 hours out of this. Projection hour, hour and a half maybe, not the worst. So it's gonna last you a night if you throw it on to go out. But that's our first one up. That is Euphoria Intense from Calvin Klein. Okay, next one. This is a brand new fragrance to my collection. This actually was sent to me for review by a wonderful fragrance store based out of Louisville, Kentucky. Those of you who might be in Louisville, maybe you've already heard about Rodeo Drive, who is a fashion outlet or store in general, but they do have, fragrances, and they do have a lot of niche fragrances. So this is a niche fragrance from a house called Hermetica, and they base their fragrances around molecules, purely molecularly composed fragrances. That's what they make here. And their whole idea is they're kind of trying to harken back to the old days of alchemy, of turning one thing into another, dealing with molecules, transfiguration, transmutation, all that stuff. It's not really that serious as far as I know when we're dealing with perfume, but the idea is really cool and the presentation is cool and the scent is nice. This is called Amberbee. See if you can read that there. And all the bottles come like this, tall and green. It's a nice touch. And they're thick and heavy. Beautiful heavy metal cap with some interesting detailing on it. Got the logo there. So this is a very simple fragrance. Amber is the main note, as you might expect. It's also paired with some bergamot, a little bit of woods, and some powdery notes. That's all I could really find. And most of the fragrances in this line are like that. They have simple breakdowns, again, molecularly based, and they are generally focusing on one particular facet of the scent, if I'm not mistaken. This one is amber, and this is a sweet. It is quite sweet. It's a little bit resinous, but there's a little bit of a brightness to it. I think from that bergamot. It doesn't change all that much. It stays pretty linear, but it is beautiful. It's very unisex. It's a comforting scent. It's not super strong, but it is an eau de parfum. It is gonna last on the skin. When it dries, it does get a little bit more woody, but for the most part, it stays pretty linear. This actually bears some resemblance to another fragrance on this list that I'm gonna talk about in a second. This one's a little bit lighter than that one, but they do kind of go in the same direction in terms of how the amber is used here. This is on the sweeter side, a little bit more on the richer side, very warm, not so aromatic here. That bergamot has a little sparkle up top, but it doesn't last very long. But the other one I will talk about is even more rich than this. So Rodeo Drive, again, they sent this to me. They're actually running a really nice special for you guys. If you want to check out these fragrances, or I think any fragrances on their website, we're running a promotion right now. You use the code SMELLGOOD15. That's going to get you 15% off your purchase. And all sales are final at that point, just so you know. But it's a really, really generous discount. So go ahead and check it out. I will link to Rodeo Drive down in the description. If you want to check out Amberbee, you can check that out, or anything else. I have one more fragrance that I'm going to talk about in a second that they did send to me as well, that you can find. And that one's going to be my number one on this list because I am absolutely loving it. I've wore it a lot. I'm not going to spoil it. You'll see. So once again, this one is called Amberbee from Hermetica. Check it out if you're interested. Up next, we have another niche fragrance here. This is a popular one in the community. If you've delved into niche even a little bit, you've probably heard about this one. If not, it's worth checking out. One of the most unique fragrances I've come across, and how it uses the note structure that it has. We have some tobacco, we have honey, we have incense. I think there's maybe some iris in there. There's hay, and then of course amber, and there's more going on to it. If you haven't guessed it, I'm talking about Chergui from the house of Serge Lutens. This is a very elegant scent. This is a powdery amber. It's quite powdery. It's also a little bit earthy with that hay note, which adds so much character to it. It's gonna be a little unusual. If you've never smelled it, you might be like, how do you wear this? How could anyone find this pleasant? In the air, it is so elegant. That tobacco adds a nice darkness to it, adds to that earthy nature, and the honey makes it sweet. So it is sweet, it's warm, a little powdery, earthy. I love it. It's so elegant, great for the fall and spring, especially at night. One of my favorites. I've loved it for a long time. I've recently reacquired it. Happy to have it back. That is Chergui. I'll link it down below if you're interested to check it out. Okay, up next, from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian, which is a little redundant. Maison means house. So from Maison Francis Kurkdjian.
Had a cough? Do you have the corona?
One of the most popular amber fragrances on the market, period. Worldwide, I would say. And you probably know what it is if you're familiar with the house of Francis Kurkdjian. I just have a decant which I received from my good friend Troy. So Troy, thank you so much for generously supplying me with this. I've worn it here and there, but every time I spray it, man, this stuff is so elegant. This is called Grand Soir. I'm not gonna show you the label. You can just see the bottle here. You see that juice color? That's rich. It smells the way it looks. This is a medicinal amber. So the benzoin in this one, benzoin is a resin. That is the most prominent part of the amber accord to my nose. And again, it makes it a little medicinal. Some people may not really like this one, especially if they smell it from the atomizer, if they smell it up close on the skin. It can be a little bit much. It can turn people off. I think it is, at least in my opinion, undeniably beautiful in the air. It is rich, it's sweet, it's warm. Again, we have some of our usual players. There's labdanum, there's vanilla tonka bean, the amber accord, of course, and the benzoin. A simple note breakdown, quite a linear scent, doesn't change that much. Maybe gets a little bit musky as it dries. I kind of get a little bit of that as it dries down. Super unisex, and it is pretty strong. I gotta say, this stuff is gonna perform well. You're not gonna have to worry about it. And this is the fragrance that I was talking about that is similar to the Hermetica. This is like a denser, richer version. If you want to think of the Hermetica as like the daytime, Grand Soir is night. They are kind of counterparts in that way, at least if you're asking me, to my nose. If you want to check it out, I'll link it down below in some way. Rodeo Drive might even carry this one, honestly. So maybe you can check it out and take advantage of that code to get a little discount. This is Grand Soir, a fantastic amber scent. This is kind of quintessential amber if you're looking to get into it, but this is very ambery. So you may not want to start here. Anyway, Grand Soir. Okay, we got another designer fragrance here. I would call this a cheapie. This isn't the cheapest of the cheap in regards to designer fragrances, but you can probably find this for under 50 bucks, if not under 40, or around the $40 range, from the house of Armani. This is code Profumo, one of my absolute favorites from the house in general. I love the little 30 ml bottle too. Amber is a supporting player here, but man, it really fills out the scent. It makes it so rich. It's sweet. Lots of tonka bean in here. There is leather in here. You got mandarin orange, cardamom, lavender. There's an aromatic nature to it. You got that original Armani Code DNA, which is in here, but it's sweeter and more playful, and the performance is fantastic. This is perfect night out stuff for the cooler weather. This is gonna get you 8 to 10 hours. Easy projection, I'd say 2 to 4 hours, no problem. This is going to get compliments. If you haven't smelled this and you're looking for a sweet, rich, leathery, but kind of aromatic and playful scent for the fall and winter, and you haven't tried Armani Code Profumo yet, you gotta try it. I will link it down below. If you wanna check it out, if you wanna get this little 30 ml bottle, which I think is the cutest little thing. Finally, this fragrance has rocked my world a little bit. I cannot stop smelling it. I cannot stop wearing it. I think I've had it for about a week. I've worn it like 4 times already, which again is not usual for me. This is a very special fragrance. This is a relatively new scent. I think it came out last year, if not the year before. This is from the house of Francis Kurkdjian, once again. And this was a project that Francis Kurkdjian embarked on to create a truly genderless fragrance that might give it away. He made 2 versions of it. Both versions use the same ingredients, but they are just proportioned in different ways, so they give different facets. You have one of them which is more focused on the vanilla, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't smelled that one. But the 5 main players here are vanilla, which is prominent in the other one. We have coriander, we have amber, of course, we have juniper, and musk. Those are the 5 main blocks that he worked with, and he kind of shuffled them around and reproportioned them to get the fragrances to have their own unique characters. And this is called Gentle Fluidity Silver, and there's also a gold version. And man, I was a little nervous. I was excited to try it. I didn't know what to expect, but good Lord, this is a gorgeous fragrance. It is, at least the silver, this is more based on the juniper. The juniper kind of leads the show here, adds a little bit of that gin kind of sharpness to it. If you've ever smelled juniper or juniper berry, you know what I'm talking about. But it is warm and sweet from that amber and also the vanilla. But that amber, I really think it just kind of like fills out the core of the scent. And that vanilla keeps it sweet. Once again, the musk, all the musk. And the musk gets prominent as it dries. It's a very gentle scent, kind of per the name. It's very elegant. I mean, just to put it simply, anyone could wear this. Anyone could wear this. It's on the softer side. If you're looking for something super woody and super earthy, this is not it. This is going to be again, a very gentle fragrance, but it actually has good performance. This stuff lasts 10 hours on my skin, which I was really surprised about. On my shirt, I have a shirt I wore like 4 days ago, and it's still pushing pretty strong off of the collar. So this stuff is not to be messed with. But if you're looking to smell just really refined and put together and I guess very sensitive, then this is one to go with. This is again called Gentle Fluidity. This is the silver version. You can find this at Rodeo Drive as well. I think this one it's a little pricey. It's $225 if I'm not mistaken. You get the Smell Good 15, you'll get the 15% off if you want to check it out. And the same goes for this one, the Hermetica. I think this is $195 if I'm not mistaken. And again, you can get it a little cheaper with the discount. So I encourage you guys to go down, check out Rodeo Drive, support, you know, small businesses that deal with perfumes. These perfumeries are really struggling these days. I know everyone is, but these small businesses that are really just trying to provide joy in the form of fragrance to people like me and you, they need our help. If you feel like you've been looking for any of these fragrances, any of the niche ones I talked about, or you want to just go check out their website and see what their catalog has to offer, and you feel inclined to get something for yourself and support them, then by all means, go for it. Use the discount. I don't get any kind of kickback on it. It's just to help them out, keep things moving for them. So now it's your turn. Let me know down in the comments, what is your favorite amber fragrance? Your favorite amber based scent where amber is the main player, or it is like second in command, kind of helping to run the show. What is it for you? I want to know what you have that I don't have in terms of amber scents, because there's tons out there I haven't talked about. If you like the video, go ahead and like the video. Really appreciate your support. And if you have not subscribed and you've made it to this point, then please consider it. Just either hit the button on your phone, tap it, or click with your mouse, whatever it is. Would love to see you back as a part of the Fresh Squad, where we stay fresh. If you want to do that, then hope to see you back. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.